Hey coaches, have you ever been on the sideline screaming at your kids, wishing that you could get them to do exactly what you need them to do, but you just can't relay the information fast enough? I'm pretty sure that we've all been there. So today we're going to be covering three different calls that we can use with any defense in any base and get your kids to position faster and be able to execute things that you want them to do on the field. And this is something that can apply to any defense, regardless of what type of scheme that you run. It's three simple and easy calls. Make sure that you stick around in the video to find out what they are. The first call that we're going to be talking about is bump. And bump is going to be talking to the linebackers, particularly the inside linebackers, and just getting them to move to a different position on the field. I've used this within a 4-2 system, a 4-3 system, and currently within our 3-4 system, just to kind of get linebackers on the inside of the box to adjust based off the tendencies that we see from the offense. It's a super easy call, but it allows them to be in a better path to make the play. And over the next few videos, you'll kind of see positions and formations where we can call bump, and it'll get them in a better position to carry out their specific role in their job. So this can be used against tight ends if the tight end's aggressively down blocking and getting to the linebacker. You can use him to bump towards the tight end. It can also be used to trips if you want to get him out of the box and cover better in longer yardage type situations. It all comes back to situational football, but it's a super easy call that we can use and have in our back pocket when we want to adjust things for those inside linebackers. So let's get into the details of it and kind of talk about what it looks like when we go and call bump on a game day and where there's situations in which we might use it and it be advantageous for us. All right, so here we're looking at bump versus a tight end. We haven't gotten into bump yet, but I just want to talk about a situation in which I might call bump. So for whatever reason, okay, say my walked up backer here is not doing a good job and this tight end is cutting off my play side linebacker. Okay, this is a common problem that we see. Maybe my play side linebacker, he's just not that good. He's not getting the read. Whatever the reason is, maybe he's just not getting to the play fast enough towards a tight end tie. And I, this week, have installed bump, and we are going to bump towards the tight end. So what this does is it allows this guy, rather than being over here in his normal 30, or if you do 20s, or maybe you're in a 30-10, whatever it is, we're going to go ahead and get in a 40, okay? And so he's no longer here. He's no longer here. We've called bump now. My guy is going to get in a 40. He's going to be stacked here, okay? And then remember, this is a call. We're not going to sit there and line up in it every single down, but it's something that I can call in situations where I want to get him to the tight end fast, okay? And so if we call bump, now he's in a 40. Now this is a more aggressive angle for that tight end. It's going to be much more difficult for that tight end to get up there. Now, if you're in a 4-2, you could do the same call. You're just shifting the linebackers. So even if you're the defensive front, rather than being in a 3-man front, you're in a 4-man front with a 1 and a 3, or however you want to do it. You can still shift those guys, and they're still lined up where they can play their gap that they're responsible for. All right. Now, for us, I would slant the defensive line to kind of help eliminate that A gap to the tight end side. That way, this backer that's in a 40 doesn't have to worry about his gap anymore. But you can also gap it out however you want to, and just help with that other backside backer. You could eliminate that gap, and now he's helping key that play side A gap. There's a lot of different things that you can do to go along with your bump call to give those guys an advantage to get to the play faster. But the whole reason of the bump call is, hey, we're seeing this tight end cut us off in this package. Let's go bump to the tight end. And now on the field, you can change it in an instant, and you're able to cut that play off a lot faster than just sitting in there with a 20 or a 30 linebacker, and he's just getting picked up by the tight end every single time. Quick and easy adjustment. You don't have to wait all day to do it, and it's a great way to get your play side linebacker to the tight end side able to scrape clean and make the play now. Now let's look at a bump call where versus helping us in the run, it's helping us in a pass situation. So if I want to stay too high and I don't want to bring safety down to help eliminate some of that grass, I can call bump to the trip side and help get a linebacker over to leverage the number 3 faster. So if they're running something with that number 3 and we just can't get to it out of our base formation or our base 3-4, we can call bump and it'll give us an extra guy or an extra step towards that number 3 and just help leverage him and eliminate some of that grass. So rather than being stuck in our 20s or our 30s in the inside of the box, now if we call bump, I'm going to send those guys to a 10 and he's going to be stacked over here in a 40 or slightly outside. And all that does is help get him in a position to where he can leverage that number 3 faster and get there quicker if they throw something quick out there like a bubble or something like that. And it just gives you an extra guy out there. If I don't want to bring the safety down, now I don't have to, and I can get there for a quick. So it just depends on what the offense is doing, what the offensive tendency is, on whether or not I want to make that call, or if I want to leave my linebacker in the box for the run game. It's an easy way to adjust and get him to the ball faster. If you have somebody that may be a little bit slower on that play side, it's quick and easy tag and allows him to flow. You can do this same thing out of a 4-2 look. So if I had a 4-2, if I didn't have an extra linebacker over here, if he was walked up playing defensive end, okay, you can do the same exact thing within a 4-2. A lot of times these guys will base out of that anyways. So now we have a 4-2 look and we're bumped to the trip side. But rather than just sitting in there in the box in 2 30s or a 30 and a 10, you'll go ahead and call bump, and now he's a little bit wider and he's able to leverage that number 3 faster. And it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish with that situation. Sometimes if they're going trips, they just want to run the ball, so you'll leave them in the box. If you know it's a passing situation and you want to leverage that number 3 faster, then you can call bump, and now he's going to help out. It just depends on what they're doing in the down distance and the situation. Hey coach, real quick, if you're getting value from this episode, I've got a small favor to ask. Take a second and share this video with another coach who could use a little extra encouragement today. Whether it's a teammate, someone in your district, or even a coach you look up to, pass it along. The mission here is to help build coaches up just like you, and it starts by spreading the word. So hit that share button, send it to a friend, and let's keep making an impact together. Thanks for being part of the team. All right, now that we've kind of discussed bump and the advantages of using bump on game day, let's talk about stim and shift. All stim and shift is an addition to your already packaged blitzes. And what it does is it allows you to line up pre-snap into the blitz that you're going to run, whether you want to shift to it with shift or if you just want to line up to it with stim. These are 2 calls that we use to kind of go ahead and show the blitz early and eliminate the gaps now. This is something that we can use if we see them taking advantage of one gap that may be open and we don't know why it's opening. So rather than blitzing the gap and trying to get there, we're going to go ahead and line up in it and eliminate it right now. We use these tags to help eliminate those runs right then and there. So all shift is shifting based off the cadence. So if it's down set hut, we're going to shift on the down or the set part. It just depends on the offensive cadence. On stim, rather than shifting, our defense just knows we're lining up in this right now. And so those are 2 different calls, and it gives you a whole new front look, but doesn't really change a lot for your defense because these are already blitzes that you're running. The only difference is when you tag these words, now they know I'm either shifting based off the cadence or I'm lining up in my gap that I'm taking right now. And this gives you an advantage on the defensive side of the ball because now as you're either shifting or you're stemmed, you're going to see the offense has a difficult time responding to those moving bodies. So on blitz pickup, sometimes our linebackers will blitz a gap and it closes and they just get stuck in all this trash. Now lining up, okay, a lot of times when we do this, somebody gets free because one of the offensive linemen did not follow their rules appropriately. Okay, so this is kind of an advantage of doing stem or shift, and it just gives you a defensive look that the offense is not used to seeing. So make sure that you can add these 2 calls, and I'll kind of show you how they work and how we can use them on game day. All right, so let's kind of talk about what stem and shift look like within our base 3-4 system, and then how you can use those to implement them on your game day. So let's talk about a normal blitz for us. So if I was going to send outside linebacker pressure, okay, we go ahead, send him, and we'd slant away. Okay, that's just one option. So if I wanted to run this blitz, or if I want to line up in it, but I didn't want to actually run the blitz, I just wanted to go stem. Okay, so in stem, we're going to go ahead and show it now. All right, so now all we're going to do is take and walk. So on stem, okay, we're going to show it pre-snap. We're going to shift. So he's going to shift into his gap. It's going to look more like this. He's going to walk up, and our safety would probably go ahead and absorb if we were running cover 3. And then on the snap of the ball, everybody's gapping out. That is stem. Now, in shift, we end up in the same package, okay? We end up in the same package, but shift happens on cadence. Stem happens now. So stem, we're happening now. Shift happens on cadence. And if the kids get those two confused, it doesn't really matter as long as they know the blitz, which they should. We blitz a ton. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what that looks like. All right, as far as shift and stem goes with outside linebacker pressure. Now let's talk about inside linebacker pressure. So let's pretend that I wanted to run inside linebacker. I wanted to run an A-gap blitz, and we were just going to pinch. So I wanted to gap everything out. All right, I wanted to make it spill to the sideline. So we wanted to tag this blitz, okay, and we want to run stem or shift. So now we're gonna stem. He's walking down. Boom. And this guy, since he's here, he doesn't have any responsibility. I normally let him suck into a 0-0 just to give him an advantage to flow either way, 0-0 or a 10. But now he knows he doesn't have any gap responsibility. These guys are going on the snap. Boom, boom, boom. We don't have to absorb middle if we don't want to. We can still roll cover 3, or we can stay too high and run some type of even coverage. It doesn't really matter on that part, but all you guys have to know is that if we tag shift or stem, the kids are just doing it based off of either the cadence, or they are doing it based off of just lining up pre-snap and going. Next, we're going to be talking a little bit about how we can do it out of a 4-2. All right, so let's right here is a 4-2 box. Pretend our nickel's to the field, so this guy's over here to the field, and we're playing too high, okay? This is a pretty traditional package for a 4-2. You guys can play a lot of games depending on whether or not you want to send a safety or an inside linebacker. Let's say we were going to just keep it real simple. We're going to start with the inside linebacker. We're going to have a bullets call. So these guys are going here, boom, boom. And these guys are just gapping out, so they don't really change anything. On the play side, we tag stem. So with stem, we're going to go ahead and line up. And all they have to do is know that he shows, I'm probably going to slide over a little bit on my gap. I'm going to slide over a little bit on my gap. Again, if you want, on a stem call, you could have him kind of suck in to replace. I just say, now you're still keying your gap. You're still responsible for your gap, but your friend's gone. Be prepared to go make a play on his side too. Because a lot of times, if these guys do a good job spilling it, then he'll have to come over the way over here. You know, if he cracks here, whatever it may be. You still have this guy. If you want to roll down and replace him, you can. It just depends on what you want to do within your base coverage. But these guys are lining up and going versus waiting on the snap to do the blitz. It's a super easy way to kind of get guys there fast and eliminate the gap quickly, okay? Because if an offense is tempoing you and you're not getting to the blitz fast enough, like you keep calling blitz, but B gap consistently gets closed down by a down block, and for some reason we're just not scraping clean. Now, by adding the person into the gap and showing it pre-snap, you're not trying to hide it or anything like that. You're showing it pre-snap and you're running and going. now it kind of makes it more difficult to execute the play. And now if I wanted to send outside pressure with the nickel, okay, same thing. Okay, so you call some type of nickel blitz. He would normally go inside, inside, and these guys would probably just stay in their gaps. Okay, but we're going to line up and show it. So I'm going to go here. I'm lining up. Means I got to bump in, take my gap, bump in, take my gap. And on the snap of the ball, we're already going. We're already here. We don't have to try and hide it. We're stimming. We're showing it now. And you can do the same thing with shift. So rather than waiting or rather than showing immediately, you can shift to it. So that's a cadence. They say down, boom, everybody shifts. All right. That's a great way to get people to jump off sides. And again, you're really just looking at a quick and easy way to kind of throw offense a little wrench in their game plan. So if they've been killing you in B gap and you want to close it fast, it's easiest just to put a body in there now. And you can do that by shifting and stimming versus trying to blitz into it or wait for the play to develop. If you get in there pre-snap and you just tell that kid to anchor the gap, then you've eliminated it, and now you got outside pressure coming now. Again, it all depends on what you base out of and what works best for you, and then going back and watching film, seeing what offensive tendencies are, and seeing how you can use shift and stim to help you in your game plan. Coach, if you're looking to take your defense to the next level, I've got something special for you. I've just released my Dynamic 3-4 Defensive Playbook. This is a PDF full of blitz packages, coverage adjustments, run fits, and coaching tips that you can install immediately, whether you're facing spread teams or power-heavy offenses. This playbook gives you the flexibility and aggressiveness you need to succeed. So if you're serious about shutting teams down and confusing quarterbacks, head over to SidelineSuccessAcademy.com and grab your copy of the Dynamic 3-4 Playbook. Now let's get back to our original episode. Now that we've kind of gone over shift and stim and how you can use those on the defensive side of the ball to package your already made blitzes into a new formation look, let's talk about actually adding new defensive formations to your playbook. So something that I think all coaches need to have within their back pocket is a front change. Whether you want to go to a bear front or some type of 4-4 stack look, whatever it is, you need to have some type of front change to give you a more aggressive run box, especially in red zone situations. You don't want to wait until game day to try and throw your kids into that formation. It's something that you want to have packaged and ready to go just so you can be prepared for it on game day. Now, for us, within our base 3-4, we can get into a 4-4 look. We can also get into a bear look. We can do a lot of different things within our base 3-4. But we have to worry about a light box versus a heavy box and being prepared to eliminate gaps on any given moment. So we have to make sure that we're good on that end. If you're basing out of a 4-2, you may just want to have one person move around to help eliminate a gap if you get into a red zone type situation. So depending on what you want to do for you and your program will determine which type of additional front I want to run. So just make sure that you know in your head that all these don't necessarily have to apply to you, but you can pick one and be able to take it and use it within your program. But let's go over the different types of fronts that we use and how we can implement those on game day. And hopefully you get one that you're able to use and you're able to make the call on game day in a red zone situation and know that your kids can execute it well enough and stop the offense. Let's kind of talk about some front changes that I like doing just to kind of give a change on what the offense is seeing. So within our base 3-4, we can go into a 4-4 look. We just call it walk. He comes down, our safety comes down and replaces him, and generally we're going to run man or cover 3. All right, and this just kind of gives you a 4-4 look. Again, you may already base over 4-2. You probably already have something similar to this. We're coming down and we're getting aggressive in the run game. We also have a bear look, which means we're going to have here, and then somebody's coming in. Generally, we bump everybody in, and our outside linebacker will come down and play defensive end for us. And all these guys are spill players. And he'll go back up top. He'll be about 7 or 8 yards deep. This guy with the two receivers, he'll be playing normal safety depth. But we're right here, and this would be bare front. Just again, just changing it up. So if you get in the goal line situation and they give you something like this, okay, because this happens, right? This happens. You need a quick and easy call that you can do and get in a bare front, okay? This will help you out in goal line situations, and it'll help you in third and short situations where you feel like they're going to gash you up the middle. And you can easily do this just by making a quick and easy tag or call within your system and practicing it a handful of times throughout the week. Okay. We're just getting situational football. Hey, it's third and short, check bear, bear, bear. Okay. Or if it's third and medium and you don't want to get in a 5-man front, you want to get in your 4-4 look, you check whatever you want to call it. You can call it stack, whatever. Okay. But gives you easy front changes and immediately changes what the offense has been seeing over and over and over and over, and it gives you an advantage on the defensive side of the ball, which is what we're looking for when we change fronts. We just want to test the offensive rules and see if they're able to do it efficiently. Your guys should be able to handle it because most of the time their reads and keys are staying the same. Okay. Now the guys that are used to playing outside linebacker that are coming in and playing defensive end, they have to be taught that stuff. Okay, and you may not be able to do that within a 4-2 though. If you're a normal 4-2 with two high safety look, or you have that nickel over here, you can swap easily to a 4-4 and be able to teach those guys. And the same thing, if you're going from a 4-2 to a 5-2, it really only affects one person who's having to come down and be the additional defensive end. And that may be something where you're substituting a player out on the field, you're pulling somebody in, taking somebody off, but it's a quick and easy change that you can do and immediately know, hey, we're going to go do this right now because I want to give them a different look. And it changes what the offense is seeing. Okay, so if you've been in a 4-2 all night, right, and they know the play that they want to run versus your 4-2, and then bang, now you're in a bear front. Okay, it throws it off a little bit, and you can just immediately change in and then change out. That way, you only do it for that one play, and you're not stuck in it over and over and over. Again, just changing what the offense is seeing, testing their rules. But you have added a wrinkle into their plan and made it more difficult for them to get that the down and distance that they need. So that wraps up today's video. Those are 3 easy calls and adjustments that you can make as a coach to help get your kids to the play faster. 2 of them are using things that you probably already have within your program that aren't changing a whole lot. Bump is easily moving the linebackers over to wherever you think they need to be. The stim and shift are built already into blitzes that you have. You're simply just showing them pre-snap. Now the last one may require some thinking and tweaking for you and your program, determining which type of front that I want to use. But this is something that is super beneficial when it comes to crucial downs like third and short, or if you're in the red zone and you need to stop with a bigger package. This is something that you need to start thinking about right now so that you can begin implementing within your program to win that down in the future. Thank you guys so much for joining us and watching this video. Catch us next time on the podcast. Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Faith, Family, and Football. If you got value from this episode, make sure to subscribe so that you never miss a new drop. And don't forget, head over to SidelineSuccessAcademy.com to grab your free ebook, The 10 Things to Know Before You Start Coaching, and this applies to all coaches. Plus, for all my football coaches out there, you can grab my full 3-4 defensive playbook, and right now, you can save $10 with the code PODDISCOUNT10 at checkout. Again, that's PODDISCOUNT10. Thanks for hanging out with me. Stay strong in your faith, lead your family, and coach with confidence. Catch you next time.